Have y'all seen the Civil War taking place? All right. If you haven't heard, that's fine. That just means you live in a functional life because what I'm talking about happened on Twitter. Elon Musk came through and was like, hey, we actually really need in America H-1B visas. And these H-1B visas are how people from other countries come here and have, pretty great jobs by some standards. These are like sometimes developing jobs, some of the engineering jobs, and like just stuff of that nature. This isn't like one of your regular visas, and it's not like a visa that we have with a specific country. Like there are E3 visas that we have with places like Australia because they're white. And that's like that's a thing that we have with lots of different countries. So there's a certain amount of visas that are agreements between the countries, and we don't have it with every single country in the world, but even with like Uganda, we might have a few that are these specific visas that Ugandans can get or something, as an example, right? But the H-1Bs have a lot to do with jobs because with your H-1B visa, if you lose your job, right, you have to leave. But Elon is like, these H-1Bs are actually great. And Vivek Ramaswamy is also like, these H-1Bs are fantastic, right? Now, the reason that billionaires like H-1B visas is because people who are very talented from other countries will come, and they're usually, not always, but a lot of times are sending money back to their home country for their family, right? And so they, due to the exchange rate, don't really have the same amount of demands as an American worker. Like an American worker, $100,000, it means something different here than it means to someone coming here, right? $100,000, you might still be like, okay, I'll have a place to live, but I won't be able to do much. I can't take a vacation. If I get hurt, I'm immediately going to go into medical debt because I don't have insurance. Like $100,000 is a lot of money, but you're still thinking about how you're going to move through life as an American, right? But if you're coming from somewhere, especially if you're coming from somewhere where this is the biggest opportunity you've had up until this point, you're thinking $100,000. Okay, look, I can have roommates. I don't care about having roommates. I'll have as many roommates as it takes to keep as much of that $100,000 after taxes that I'm going to keep in my pocket, so that way I can send money home. And the money that I send home due to the exchange rate is fantastic, right? So now I can maybe even retire my parents off of this $100,000, $120,000 job back where I'm from. So when they come over here, they are working these like crazy hours. Like we're talking like 80-hour work weeks, fluctuations, and what the job description is and stuff like that. And they don't complain, because if they complain, they could be fired. And if they get fired, they're immediately deported. They start all over again, right? So that's why Elon and Vivek love H-1B visas. So Maga as a movement is very upset with this sort of thing, because the whole idea of Trump winning and Elon and Vivek making that Department of Government Efficiency, which is only named that so that it will be called Doge, which is low-key one of the most unserious things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, that was when I was like, oh yeah, we're cooked. That's very bad. Y'all, if you had gone back 20 years and told somebody that eventually there would be someone, these are like made up jobs. Like Trump would actually have to do what they say to make them official. Right now, they don't even really exist in theory, right? It's just an idea of what might happen. I mean, who knows now? But like, if you went back 20 years and you told someone eventually there would be a government body that only had its name so it could be the acronym CAKE. I'm sure that person 20 years ago would ask, when did all the smart people die? And so, and so, and so, Vivek tweets and Elon tweets, and everyone, I don't know, is so mad. Okay, so basically, MAGA sees the H-1B visas as like taking American jobs, and not in a Mexican immigrant way. Not in the way of like, they're coming over here and they're selling fruit. I didn't really want to sell fruit anyway, but like they're selling the fruit. I don't know how I feel about that. It's not like that. It's like, no, LinkedIn is empty. And you're talking about H-1Bs coming over here and getting the jobs that I went to college for. And then Elon basically said, hey, y'all way too stupid to do these jobs, which is so out of pocket. That's so crazy. That, in a weird way, this whole ordeal almost made me feel kind of bad for MAGA as a movement. Because when you think about it, a lot of why MAGA started is because, whether you want to put them in quotations as elites or like coastal elites or just people with money, those people for a long time, and this is something that I don't like, that I've seen for a long time, because it's a city rule thing that we do to each other a lot, where there are a lot of city people that look down on like rural people in a rural lifestyle because they're like, oh, you're not educated. But then the people in the rural areas look at city people and they're like, you actually can't keep yourself alive. Do you know what I mean? Like you I know you've read more than me, but like, how do you... Where does water come from? Tell me where water comes from. Oh, the bottle? Oh, okay. Oh, it comes from a bottle. That's cute. All right. Because don't get me wrong, as well-educated city people who I've been around, I've lived in lots of different places, and I travel around the country as often as I can, so I do my best to meet everyone so I can understand. I want to have as many pieces of the puzzle as I can to see where people are coming from, how we get places, right? And when I tell you that there are people who I know are very smart, very, very intelligent people, very smart people, but when you tell them that water comes from the ground, they look at you like, well, you must be drinking dirty water, because not my Icelandic, no. Guys, so Elon basically says y'all are like way too dumb to do these jobs. Like, I've seen your American schools, I've seen your colleges, and your colleges don't even match other countries' high schools. And the sort of general MAGA response to that was like, well, okay, but you agreed with us for the past like 4 or 5 years that the American college system was broken and that it's too woke and that we need to fix it and we need to change things up. And he was like, yeah, but you still dumb. Like that doesn't change. I don't think yeah, I don't like it either, but that doesn't make you smarter that you went to a dumb school. And so then they lose it. And then MAGA was like, oh, okay, I didn't know you felt that way, you South African. It's hard to find a whiter man than Elon Musk. Like literally and figuratively in a sense, because he's very. Oof. You know what I mean? Like the sun, not a friend, right? But the way they were calling that dude African, just You ever, because they're like African, but then I'm an African American, and I've never had racism miss me like the Matrix. That like nearly broke my brain. When they were like, "You African," and I was reading it like, "Oh yeah, geez. Wow, okay, all right." Elon has the most money in the world, the richest man in the world, and this is how you know that the path to riches is a dead end. Because this man has always had money, and he has more money than anybody. And he plays with different people. Sometimes he's number 2 for like a day. Sometimes he's number 1 for a week. But he's richest man in the world, is safe to say, right? I'm sure somebody can pull me up 4 months from now and be like, actually, this other person. It's like, yeah, for 20 minutes. But like, it's richest person in the world, and he's still deeply, deeply missing everything about what a joyous life is. He's the richest person in the world, right? But out of all of that money that he has, all of the money he has, and he has almost all the money that he has, right? He has a cartoonish amount of money. All the money that he has, he wants nothing more. I can tell you this right now, just from watching his moves, just from watching him talk, just from watching how he's interacted, even in this little spat that he's having. I'm not saying that this is the end of Maga or something, or that the Republican Party's gonna fall apart. I'm saying that just this glimpse, this dude has all of the money in the world. He can have anything that he wants except acceptance, except like actually being in a room and knowing that everyone wants him in that room. He cannot buy being cool. He cannot buy genuineness. There are always going to be people who love Elon or think Elon's dope because they think that he's a genius, because they think that he is going to help them become like him, or just because he has money. But then when you strip all of that away, I don't know Elon, and I don't necessarily care for much of what he does, but I know a person hurting when I see it. Do you know what I mean? I know like a hurt individual when I see it. And this dude has not stopped tweeting since they call him a South African, since it happened. They have been coming for this dude's neck nonstop. And it's like sometimes I don't know. Sometimes you see something, you're like, oh, that's a lot. You know what I mean? I'll tell you how I feel about what's happening to Elon right now. And all right. This may just be me, but there's a video online of this guy. This is right when the Popeyes chicken sandwich dropped, okay? And if you remember that was a time to be alive. You would think that Popeyes didn't serve chicken. You would think that something revolutionary was happening because they took the chicken that they already sell and they put 2 buns on either side of that chicken. People ready to fight over this chicken sandwich, and they were running out, not of chicken, of the sandwich, which means they were only running out of bread. And people were losing their minds over it. They could not. What do you mean you want chicken sandwiches? I waited in this line for 5 hours to get this chicken sandwich just to bite a piece of chicken and with bread on either side of it. I've been waiting all day to have this chicken sandwich. Meanwhile, Chick-fil-A was next door being like, y'all, we hear all the time. It's like, nobody wants that right now. I want the Popeyes chicken sandwich. And so there's a video where this guy is, I believe he's in Georgia. He might be in Atlanta, which also makes this thing very poor judgment. But this dude is in Atlanta. He's a white dude, right? And everyone else in the Popeyes is black. And I don't know how long he's been waiting. I don't know why he's so mad, but he's stomping around, right? And he's stomping around and getting in people's faces and stuff. He's like, "Where's my sandwich?" And then finally he goes up to somebody. He's like, "Get out of my way now!" And like it's just going back and forth, right? And then finally, his sandwich is ready. He snatches the sandwich. He's like, "Give it to me!" And then he pushes somebody out of the way. And the person filming him is just like, "Oh no, oh no." Fast forward like 5 seconds, maybe 10. He's in the parking lot, sort of folded up. Because somebody beat his ass. Because, you know, yeah. And not only are they beating his ass, but he's clearly folded up and sitting down now, and they've still put a hand on his shoulder just to create leverage and are like uppercutting him a couple times, right? And so then after like the second or third uppercut, they walk off with his bag, and the person filming goes, "Oh, y'all ain't gotta take his sandwich though." Which is weirdly, I don't know, which is a very short, but a very poignant, like lesson about racism, or at least how people who experience racism treat the people who are racist towards them, right? Because even in this hateful thing, there's this line that's like, "Oh, okay, but that was enough." Do you know what I mean? And so when there are people who rarely or never experience racism, and it's a new feeling, it's a new type of anger, it's a new type of hurt, they're not gonna know what's enough because they're not practiced in what it feels like to find a level with it. Do you know what I mean? There are things that happen in the world, and they're sick and they're racist, and then it's not something that you can always change or resolve, but you have to move on with your life. You have to live, you know? So you can fight back as best as you can, and you can distance yourself as best you can, create safety as best you can, but that will be out there. So when like someone who is not used to the practice of dealing with that thing feels it for the first time, nothing will ever be enough. And so because nothing is enough, they went after Elon in a way where I was like, "Oh, y'all ain't got to do all that." Because they hurt Elon feeling so bad that this dude went on a burner account on Twitter and join Space. If you don't know what Spaces are, it's where you can talk. It's literally just like this chat room, this like audio chat room where everybody can talk, or just the moderator can talk or whatever. And he went in this audio chat room with a voice modulator and started defending himself with the voice modulator, being like, actually, like Elon like a good person and stuff, like. Y'all actually being hella out of pocket when it comes to Elon. That's not fair at all what y'all said. And you especially were very rude. And I would say it'd be helpful if y'all would like apologize to Elon, because I don't know him at all, but he seems like a reasonable dude. So if y'all like would chill out, I'm sure he would forgive you and stuff. Like he a cool guy. And I don't know what was said. I do not know what happened. But something was said that was so, I'm assuming, hateful or out of pocket or just wrong, that I don't know how this happened. All I know is Elon apparently, because this is all hearsay. I watched the thing and I'm 90% sure it's real, but like apparently this dude got so mad he either got his mouth too far from the voice modulator or turned it off, because then this dude in his full Elon voice was like, "Wait, watch who you talking to right now." But like, he like fully dropped it. He was like, "Well, forget y'all too then. I hate everybody in here." Y'all can all go to hell. Because then Vivek also tweets one of the oddest. First of all, it's too long. This is another thing that happened because as soon as they took that like 150 character sort of like thing off of Twitter and it kind of killed the thread of Twitter, because the thread was how you knew you were telling a good story. Like the thread, I've read threads that were 220 parts. Because every part, there was no fat on that story. The whole thing is so insane. And every 140 characters keeps you hooked for the next 140 characters. I've read Twitter threads that should be movies, right? Because you had to use an economy of word. You had to actually be a writer to convey your ideas, and you did it in the long. I was scrolling for the entire afternoon. And even when I got to the end, I was like, damn. And now, you can just do the whole thing. So then Vivek does this whole thing, and he's like, basically, if America wants to win, and if Americans want to win, and by the way, when I say Americans for a little while here, when I say Americans, there's a subtext for everyone talking that they mean white Americans. Just so you know, because sometimes people say Americans, and then well-meaning people go, no, we're all, and I'm like, all right, So Vivek is like, if Americans want to win, then, it comes down to culture. And right now, your culture is trash. It's basically... It's basically a bunch of jocks looking at people who read like they're the dumb ones, even though the jocks are the dumb ones. And we're obsessed with like pretty stuff, shiny stuff and everything. And if you pick up some books and if you do a little less, like Instagram, whatever you do, maybe you'll be worth hiring. That's at least how it sounded. And I was not that pressed about the whole Vivek thing. One, because I knew he wasn't talking to me. And two, because I've heard this sort of thing my entire life. No one is more used to this type of condescension than black people. You know what I mean? Because with black people, we're the ones where we're like, hey, I did all the stuff you said to do. I went to the right school, actually got a scholarship. I did the internship, and I am passionate about this field. Can I get a job? And they're like, we already have a black. We already have a black. His name is Mike, because he tricked us. We already have a... Look, we would hire you. But the boss's dumbest cousin needs a job, and so we're going to have to give it to him. But, I don't know, keep applying, and then maybe if Mike dies... we'll need a black, so then you can do it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just a general reality. And so to hear Vivek talk to white people like this was wild. That was so apart, because then the comments were all like, but I did all the stuff, and he's like, yeah, no, I know. But you're dumb. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I would never hire you, And he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that exactly, but that's what he implies throughout the whole thing. And then he stops responding because it's thousands of people. But I don't know. There were so many people that came out and they were like, look, what the whole reason that we joined this MAGA movement, the whole reason that we thought Trump being in office was a good thing is because it would mean more good jobs for Americans. And look, if you genuinely believed that, then I don't. You know what I mean? No, I'm not being a dick. I'm saying, like, if you genuinely believe that, then like that's bad. You know how this happened. This thing happened, and I really I worry sometimes. I think about this a lot, and I think about this with every like topic that I talk about, or any joke I tell or story I decide to talk about. That like I would like to believe that like I would like to believe that empathy, compassion, and kindness are the way forward and will get us somewhere. I don't know if that's true. I want that to be true. I think if you make your obsessions community, culture, connection, and compassion, then I think that there's a way forward. You know, I don't know if that is right. It might be incorrect. It's what I've chosen my best to do, and I'm a human, so I'm probably gonna mess it up a lot. But one thing that happens in my mind, what I think of when I think of MAGA, is a story from when I was just getting out of high school. It might have even been my first year of college. No. It was like my second year of college, right? And I was getting off a shift at this restaurant that I worked at, and my friends were picking me up. And when they picked me up, we would hang out on the weekend, all the times that I was back at home, which is where the restaurant that I would work for extra money was. So I would leave college, I'd come back home, work a shift, and then spend the weekend with my friends. And that particular day when they picked me up, I knew I was spending the night at one of their houses. But when they picked me up, they're like, hey, I live in Alexandria at the time. They're like, hey, we're going to, I think we went to Opelousas or Leesville or something, which is like an hour and a half away or a couple hours away. And when I get in the car, they say this. And I'm like, why are we going to Leesville? And my buddy's like, it's a surprise, right? And so then we get all the way over there. Now, my second friend in the car is about to go away to seminary. So I went to a Catholic school for high school, and I actually like treasure it as an experience, not because of any sort of like religious teaching, but because it gave me a little bit more insight into how people think and how the people around me thought about me and about the world, right? But then there were some people that went to the school that were like, yeah, we'll do this forever. And he was one of them. He was like, I'll just be a priest, because that was his track, right? And so then we get to where we're going, and it's a strip club. And so my one buddy had decided that because our second friend was about to go be a priest, he should at least see titty, just to be sure. Just in case. That he should see what they, that they round and beautiful and so. And so then, we go inside, and I'm okay. I'm also like taken aback. Like my friend that's going to seminary is like, actually, I guess I'm going to hell, because he's looking around. He's like, right? I'm just generally slightly uncomfortable because I was like a late bloomer, sort of like accepting myself and like accepting my. I guess the way I come off to people and stuff. And so I'm still like this awkward, tight, as soon as I walk in, right? I'm nervous, and he's nervous for like different reasons. He's like, you know what I mean? And so then our buddy who took us, who was driving, buys my friend who's going to seminary lap dance. And so it's not just any lap dance. It's a lap dance in the private room. And so I was like, you gonna get that boy a heart attack, and then he gonna die, and then he gonna be there, and then be like, look, I did everything right, but I will say I did die at a strip club. That shouldn't even be on me because I didn't know we were going there. But she started rubbing up on me, and it was too perfect. I thought it was one of your angels, all right? And so then I got excited, and then my left arm started to hurt a little bit, and now I'm here. But that shouldn't even be on me, okay? I didn't drive myself, I didn't do it. And so then, he goes private room, lap dance, and he comes out of the room, a new man. The dude comes out of the room. I don't know what happened in the room. I'm assuming dancing, but this dude walks out of the room like he had to do all the dancing. He walked out the room disheveled. And he goes up to our friend and he's like, do you have money for one more dance? My friend pays for another dance and he goes back. And, while he's in the room, I had my own journey. Because I was at the strip club and I was just sipping on a Sprite because this is back when I still drank soda. I had to quit. It's too spicy. It generally burns my chest. Like it's too much, right? But back in the day, I would hit a Sprite, and so I was sipping all this Sprite, and this one dancer walks by, and she does this thing where she basically like massages the back of my neck as she's walking by. But I am not used to being in strip clubs. I'm also not used to people coming on to me, so I thought it was a spider. So And so I thought it was a spider, so I started swinging. And I didn't hit anything, but I still was like... And then later, another dancer came over and she sat across from me. She was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. She's like, what's your name? I was like, I'm Josh. And she's like, what brought you in today? I was like, oh, my friend, he's gonna go to seminary. And so we brought him here. To make sure. I don't really know what the plan is. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a funny story. You're funny. And I was like, I didn't say anything funny. And he's like, oh, well, you're kind of cute. And I was like, oh, thank you. So you want to buy me a drink? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Do you want a Sprite? I'm drinking a Sprite. And then she smiled, very sweet smile, and then she got up and pushed her chair in and walked over to some of the other dancers. And she was, I don't know if she knew I could hear her. There was music playing, so I know she was yelling it to let them know, but I was still within earshot when she said, she gets up and she goes to the other lady. She's like, oh, y'all, don't worry. He's slow. Don't. And so then our friend who's going to seminary comes out after the second dance, and whatever happened the first time happened worse the second time, because now he like walking out, but he's sort of holding his arm too, and he's like, do you have money? For one more dance. Our buddy gives him money, and he goes in there, and I'm sitting with my buddy who brought him, and he's the only one out of all of us who's like chill in this situation. And like I don't know if he was like a cool guy anyway, but maybe he had just been to strip clubs before, but he was just not fazed. He was just like, oh, I'll get you a drink, yeah. And then our buddy comes out. Comes out of the private dance room, and honestly, nothing working. I was worried that he had lost his sight. Because he walked out like, do you? And our friend says, I'm sorry, man, but that's all the money that I had. It's probably best that we head home now anyway. And we get in the car. We're headed back. And it's not that long before. It's not like silent. We play a little music and stuff, but nobody's really talking. And then finally, our buddy that's going breaks the silence, and he's like, I don't know if I can go to seminary. In that moment, I had my own dilemma, because I was like, does that shouldn't land on me though. Like I shouldn't. That shouldn't be any of my hell though, because we technically broke he was a pre-priest, but like there's gonna not be a priest now because of what happened tonight. But that's not on me, because I didn't drive us here, and I didn't have a ride. So then and Uber wasn't a thing yet, so I couldn't have gone, and it would have been too expensive anyway. So I was just along for the ride, and now I'm in here, and then he talking about he not gonna. And then he's like, yeah, I don't know. I might have to think about it, because I think Cherry loves me. And I think I love her too. And so when I think about Maga, it feels like they love this dude, and he thinks, oh, I have their love, I'm good. And they think we love him and he loves us. But he's just up there dancing. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. He is good at dancing. He is. Like when you watch him dance, you're like, that was at least funny, or it was like, oh, it's so weird. But no matter what, no matter how he dances, everybody talks about it. You know? And I think that with Vivek and with Elon, you know, they're real businessmen. And so they think about their business and how to improve it, how to make more money, how to make sure that they have people that aren't going to unionize, aren't going to stir up trouble or anything. And Maga is genuinely in this place. You don't get to Maga in a vacuum, you know? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a general social contract and understanding of what America is supposed to be for Americans, and the differences that we have, the way that we butt heads is the interpretation of that contract, right? For some people, that contract is just the Constitution, and they actually like live by it. They're actually like, no, it says this, so we should do this, right? And that's one way to take it. That's fine. And then there are people like me. There are people that at any point in American history have been deemed different or other, that see the contract as something that you might get by happenstance of having money, but is not going to be given to you outright. And then there are white Americans who believe in the contract, and they believe a part of the promise that's like unspoken, which is all of this, you'll have access to all of it. All of this is yours by virtue of you following the rules and doing what you're supposed to do because this is your country. And so when Elon and Vivek, who are not the right white, do you know what I mean? Because when Elon crossed Maga, he became a South African real quick. Like that was. And Vivek, I don't know, y'all, bro, you were never in. Like you were never. But when they made these points, and when they gave a lot of that movement what is genuinely some of the hard truth, it's like, all right, if you think college is broken and woke and whatever. If that really is your opinion that you hold, then you do your best to change the thing. You don't throw the thing out. You don't go, guys, I don't like gender studies, so now math is also gay. Do you know what I mean? Like if you don't like gender studies, then don't major in gender studies. Like that's a quick and easy path to not have to deal with gender studies. This should just be like, I will just do the And so I don't know how the war is going to end. You know what I mean? I don't, because it's weird. I thought this would take at least until February. Y'all have been phenomenal. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great night. I appreciate you.
Give it up for Josh Johnson.
When I